welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed since you hung around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Who'd have thought they'd lead ya? Here where we need ya. Here where we need ya. Yeah, the T's in my lot, 'cause we got him on the spot. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome.
Yo, welcome back. Give a stretch. All right. So hopefully that last work session was a productive one for you. I finished all the post radio show social media promo stuff. Pretty sure. Honestly, I don't care. But I think I got it to all the accounts and everything. So that should be good. And then I started going over the web components that I need to update. And so I started that process. So I'm hoping this next work session, I'll get them updated, tested, and implemented into this web app to kind of make sure and verify with like real data that it's working. So making some good progress. Cool. So for this one, speaking of making good progress, I wanted to talk about, we spoke about it before when it's kind of like first announced a little while ago, but then we went back over because there's been updates. Now there's been like a new update, and I want to kind of talk about it as well because it's pretty dope what they're trying to do. And I'm gonna post a link to the article in the, so next to the recording of the video, you'll be able to check out the link yourself. All right, so so the Interop 2024. So now Interop, we spoke about before, was how all like the browsers from Firefox, Chrome, Edge, and Safari are all trying to make the experiences across all of them as like uniform as possible and as consistent as possible. And so they're all kind of working to make sure certain web technologies are available in all the browsers so that when you go to a website on any one of the browsers, that it works consistently the same. Right. And so that's pretty dope. And so they did their like early in the year, and I think in February, kind of like the status update. And now they have this update for like mid-year, since we're pretty much in the middle of the year already, even though I think this came out before. So I'm just getting to it. So I had a lot of stuff to talk about before, but getting to it now. So I figured let's take a look at some of the things that they got accomplished, which is pretty dope. So shouts to Rachel Andrew for compiling this and putting this together. So so the Interop 2024 mid-year update. Cool. So then as we head into the second half of the year, it's a great time to look at how Interop 2024 has improved web interoperability. Great this year. So where we started. So you can see here, okay, so the Chrome Canary, so like the experimental browser, had an 83. It's at now 90. So everybody's gone up. Pretty dope. Very nice. So these are like experimental joins, like of the, so if you have the stable version, may not, but as far as experimental, a lot of things are happening. Dope. Very nice. Yeah, everybody moved up by 7. That's cool. All right. So today that score is 90. I see here with a score for stable browsers of 85 as of Chrome 126 that was released last month in June. All right, cool. So I wonder what, I think they had a link. I'm gonna see if I can find the link to see what the stable ones are at. So I'll look at that later. All right, so this is what I'm super happy about, the popover. I think I'm gonna use it in a project I'm working on. And so I was like, oh, okay, pretty cool. So the popover became a part of Baseline, newly available in April 2024. Popover is exciting because so many of the UI features you need to build, for example, menus, tooltips, overlays for making selections, and teaching UIs are types of popover. Exactly. So one of those is what I am trying to incorporate in this new project. So before popover, creating any of these features involved a lot of custom code. Code to make sure multiple elements were not open at once, or to enable light dismiss, so you can kind of like click out of it or whatever, or hit like escape or whatever. When the user, clicked outside of the element. Okay, we said it. You might have struggled with Z-index to make sure a UI element stayed on top of the rest of the interface. So all these features and more are included in the Popover API, and it links to MDN docs. Saving development to more performant and accessible interfaces. For example, the following code creates a popover with light dismiss that will auto-close other popovers when open. That's pretty dope. So yeah, so you have this like a button that says open popover. You have the popover target, my popover, which then is the ID of the actual popover that you're looking for. And I think almost anything can be like a popover, but they're using a div here. I think like I haven't played around with too much, but I think like a span could probably work as well, I think. But then you have this popover here. Cool. So that's saying that, hey, it's a popover. And then you put your stuff in this inside. Now, I think, yeah, depending on how you do it, I think I got to remember, is there, if you wanted to show the popover initially when a page loads, I think there's an attribute or something you can put on there. But I think by putting the popover, it makes it like not show up until you activate it by clicking a button. I think the only thing that you can use to activate it is a button. Like, I don't think this could be like a span. Again, I haven't played around with it, so those are the type of things I'm gonna mess around with. But I'm not. I think, I don't know. Don't hold me to that. But I think only a button can activate popovers, unless you're doing like JavaScript or whatever. But I think if you're just doing like HTML, I have to play around with that. And I don't think I have enough time to do that now. All right, so I may talk about that in maybe another. My bad. Okay, sorry, I was reading. I might talk about that maybe in a future break session after I get a chance to play around with it. So yeah. All right. Cool. All right. So okay. All right. Advanced custom properties with the app property. Now this is pretty cool. So the app property, and I think I'm gonna talk about this more in a future break session. But the app property, again, I haven't really played around with it, but it seems pretty cool because I use CSS variables because I do a bunch of like web components. And I think this like extends that even more. So, but yeah, so the app property CSS rule lets you create advanced custom properties or like CSS variables with much more detail than the name and value available in standard custom properties. Yeah, because before you weren't really able to do anything other than just setting like the name and the value. So, all right, so set the allowed syntax to define what type of data the property holds. That's almost like a TypeScript kind of thing. All right. So then, for example, color, a number, or length. I wonder if you can do more. Again, I'm not looking into this. I'm trying to look into it some more, but I wonder if you can do more than a color, number, or length. That's pretty dope. Then set whether the property inherits and an initial value. Cool. So the app property rule currently improves the experimental score for Firefox, boosting the stable score when Firefox 128 ships later this month. So that means hopefully Firefox 128 is out. So that means they can then support this. It also joins baseline newly available. Cool. So yeah, so as long as you have these here at a minimum, it should work. And then you can learn more. Cool. And the font size adjust property. The CSS font size adjust properly lets you modify the size of lowercase letters relative to the size of uppercase letters. So then, interesting. So if you wanted to make, I have to look at that more because sometimes it's kind of cool, like if like the uppercase letters and like lowercase letters are like the same size. That could kind of like a cool look in certain situations. I have to play with that on that. That seems interesting. Because does it like just make it longer or like taller, or does it stretch it out as well? I don't know. But yeah. Modify the size of lowercase letters relative to the size of uppercase letters. This is useful in situations where font fallback might happen. So if the font that you're trying to load for whatever reason doesn't load, and you have a fallback that it can use instead, it helps to ensure a fallback font is still legible, in particular at small font sizes. Yeah, because sometimes, if you ever look at like all the different font catalogs, and you can see like they'll show you the same size, but then you can see maybe one is a lot bigger. So let's say for like a certain font size, like 18 or whatever. You should probably be using like rem and em or whatever, but neither here nor there. But yeah, sometimes if you set the font, I wonder if that might have the same issue like with rem and em, because if it inherently is like a smaller font, then regardless of whatever, it's going to show up smaller. Yeah. So I guess so this will help with that. Then again, I have to look more into it. This is still, I haven't done too much research into each individual one. But the font size adjust property is currently included in the experimental score for Chrome. However, we release the stable score. It'll increase the stable score. Stable score. That sounded weird. Stable score. When it's released with Chrome 127 this month. It also joins baseline newly available. Nice. All right. So yeah, so the app property has been around for a minute, just not, I guess, not really in Firefox. But then you can see here, Firefox has had this font size adjustment for a minute, as well as like Safari. So Safari's been, but yeah, you can see it's a big jump, more of a jump for those things. But yeah, Safari's been pretty consistent. Nice. Then this is pretty cool. The text wrap balance. So using text wrap balance instructs the browser to figure out the best balanced line wrapping for text. Because a lot of times I like to do like responsive sites, and sometimes like the headers, I also like to get into the whole like calculating the size with everything too. So once it gets to a certain size, like the font size will change as well. But sometimes when things wrap, it wraps weird sometimes. And so with this, hopefully they'll maybe like try to center it more, or try to make it to where when it does like the line breaks, maybe it'll break earlier on certain parts if it looks more balanced, saying between the lines. So again, I'm looking to play around with that, because I think even in my new side project, I think I'm going to have to use that, because there's going to be a bunch of like titles and things that people can set. So some things may wrap, and I want to make sure it looks as good as possible. So I'll probably be using this a lot. So this has recently become supported in Safari, with other browsers working to fix failing tests to ensure this feature works across all browsers. So I guess this is, so I wonder if these are the experimental runs or something, but they're working on it. So that's cool. So in addition to these major features becoming interoperable, many other improvements have been made. Each test that passed represents an interoperability problem you won't run into. So that's dope. We're excited to see how close we can get to that 100% score by the end of the year. And like I said, they're at 75, so pretty good. Very nice. So shouts to them. I wanted to check out, I don't know if I'm going to have time now, but I think this one had it. I'm looking for the site that shows it. Dashboard. Here we go. I'm going to post a link to this as well, so you can check it out for yourself, so you don't have to go digging around like I just did. All right. So here's the dashboard. Cool. Pop over. So it's almost there. It's a little more work on the Safari, but it's almost so. Okay, so that's experimental. Let's look at the stable. Okay, see at stable, they're at 67. All right, and they got some investigations happening. Let's see. All right, they're getting there. I'm saying so. Shouts to the whole team and everybody that's helping to make this happen. That's pretty dope. So yeah, so always this is pretty dope. So you can always check out this stuff here. All right, so yeah, shouts to everybody working on it, on all the different teams. I'm sure it's a lot of work, and if nobody says it, I appreciate it. So thanks. All right, cool. So I'm gonna get y'all back to work because I want to get back to work because again, I want to get these web components like updated so then I can just put them into this. What's cool with web components? I'll just publish them and I don't have to change anything in the web app because it's pulling from the latest, and so they automatically get updated. And so all I have to do is just try what I tried before that wasn't really working the way I wanted, that I thought would work. So I'll just be able to test it. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to test it locally first before I publish them, and then do like a final test and a check over on the actual web app. So we'll see. But yeah, send y'all back to work. Again, thanks for hanging out. Share this screen here. Yeah. So the travel music is going to be Anthony Cruz, aka A Butta. The track is called Thank You. Thanks for hanging out. See you 15 minutes after the hour. We'll take a look at an artist's website, watch some videos, listen to some tracks. Maybe you'll become a fan. And yeah, so until then, I wish you much productivity. Thanks for hanging out. Y'all be easy. And peace.
I want to say thank you for holding on. When a brother was down and out, now I feel so strong. And I want to say thank you for being there. When a brother had nowhere to turn to, you were there. And I feel like, yeah. And everybody says, yeah. We spread a love like, yeah. I want to say thank you for holding on. When a brother was down and out, now I feel so strong. And I want to say